أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
The third example I'm going to give for this specific argument, inshallah, and we end with this example for this specific argument, is Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, chapter 2, verse 187, أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ لَيْلَةَ الصِّيَامِ الرَّفَثُ إِلَى نِسَائِكُمْ. That Allah Azza wa Jalla has now made it permissible for you to have intercourse with your women in the night of fasting. In the nights of Ramadan, the night of fasting, you can have intercourse with your women. And Allah says that He knows that you used to betray yourselves. عَلِمَ اللَّهُ أَنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَخْتَانُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَعَفَى عَنْكُمْ. See, He forgives you for basically disobeying His command and betraying yourselves in the past. So now, فَالْآنَ بَاشِرُهُنْ. So now you're allowed to. Where is that command? Where Allah Azza wa Jalla told them that they cannot have intercourse with them in the night. Because Allah is saying now you can, it has become halal for you. Now it's become permissible for you to have intercourse in the night of fasting. So where is the first command where Allah said that you cannot do it? Same question again. Where is that command in the Quran? If you cannot find that command in the Quran, then you have to accept the reality, the fact that there is another source of revelation other than the Quran. So that is the first argument that we have, which is a positive argument for the Hadith, which shows that there is another revelation other than the Quran. So that's the first argument. The second argument that we're going to talk about is that the Quran speaks about something that it calls wisdom, Hikmah. If you want to translate it into wisdom or you want to translate it into something else, but Hikmah in the Arabic language is referred to as wisdom. This is the most common meaning of the word Hikmah. So Allah Azza wa Jalla speaks about something that is called Hikmah in the Quran. And here, before I give this argument, I want to talk about something very absurd and something very important to keep in mind, because we will speak about it in the future as well. In the Arabic language, and even in English language and other languages, you have a word that is used for conjunction between two words. Like, for example, I like bananas and oranges. So when you say and, you use it to have a conjunction between two things that are different from each other. You don't say I ate pineapple and pineapple. So when you use the word and for conjunction, it is not between the same thing. It is between two things that are different from one another. This is in English, and it's the same in Arabic when you say wa. Like, I met قابلت زيدا وعمر. I met Zayd and Amr. You do not say in Arabic, I met Zayd and Zayd. قابلت زيدا وزيد. So when the wow, the letter wow, which is like translated into and in the English, is used for conjunction, it is used for two things that are different from one another. Because what those hadith rejectors tend to do is that they throw around old logic and they try to pretend that the word and is speaking about the same thing. And I will give examples for why they have to do that. They have no choice except doing that. And we'll speak about that now. So we said the second argument here is talking about something called al-hikmah, wisdom. So Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, in multiple different places, that He's revealed something called al-hikmah. So that hikmah is revelation from Allah Azza wa Jalla. And that hikmah is not the Quran, it's something other than the Quran. Why is it something other than the Quran? You look at the Quran, chapter 2 of the Quran, verse 231. وَمَا أَنزَلَ عَلَيْكُم مِّنَ الْكِتَابِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. And what He revealed to you from the kitab, the book, i.e. the Quran, and the hikmah. So here we have two things. We have the kitab, which is the Quran, and the hikmah. And both of them are revelation. Allah saying, وَمَا أَنزَلَ عَلَيْكُم, what He revealed to you. In another place as well, in chapter 4 of the Quran, verse 113, Allah speaks directly to the Prophet. He says, وَأَنزَلَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. And Allah revealed to you, O Prophet, al-kitab, i.e. the Quran, and the hikmah. So now, al-kitab here is the Quran, because that is what was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, or upon the Prophet ﷺ, and the hikmah. So now we have something called the hikmah that is revealed from Allah. And we would like those hadith rejectors to tell us what is this hikmah. Why do they have to tell us what is this hikmah? Because that hikmah is not only a revelation from Allah, but it's also something that is being taught to the believers. And who is teaching it? It is the Prophet ﷺ. And it cannot be the Quran, because we already said that Allah mentioned that it is something else other than the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, commanding the Prophet ﷺ, or mentioning to us as believers in chapter 2, verse 129, وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. That messenger is going to teach us the book, i.e. the Quran, and the hikmah. So that hikmah, which is a revelation from Allah, is going to be taught by the messenger, and it is not the Quran. So my question is now for those like hadith rejectors, where is that hikmah that is being taught by the Prophet ﷺ? Where can we find it? In which book is it? Because it's other than the Quran. وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابِ. He already teaches them the Quran. So you cannot say it is the Quran. وَالْحِكْمَةِ. So I would like you to kind of share with us and show us where is that hikmah that the Prophet ﷺ was teaching. And that is mentioned in many verses of the Quran, like chapter 2, verse 151, teaches them the Quran, the kitab, and the hikmah. And many verses of the Quran. Chapter 3, verse 164, again saying that He teaches them His verses, and He teaches them the kitab, and He teaches them the hikmah. So the hikmah is other than the kitab. That is something that is being taught by the Prophet ﷺ. It is a revelation from Allah. Not only that, it is something that is recited or said out loud. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, chapter 33, verse 34. وَاذْكُرْنَ مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. And mention and recite what you hear in your houses from the verses of Allah, which is the Quran, and the Hikmah. So you recite the Hikmah. What is this Hikmah? That is revelation taught by the Prophet ﷺ and being recited out loud, and it is not the Quran. Now we would like those Hadith rejectors to explain to us and tell us, because as Ahl Sunnah, we say that the Hikmah is clearly, without a shadow of a doubt, it is the Hadith, the explanations of the Prophet ﷺ, which expounds on the Quran. And you see that mentioned very clearly in chapter 16 of the Quran, verse 44, where Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ. So we reveal to you the dhikr. With dhikr here we say is the sunnah. لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ. So you can explain to the people that which was revealed to them before. So there is something that was revealed to the people that the Prophet ﷺ is going to explain using another revelation. So there's two revelations there. وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ وَمَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ. There's two things here mentioned. Dhikr is mentioned and something else that was revealed. We say that something else that was revealed is the Quran. And dhikr here is the hikmah, is the sunnah, that the Prophet ﷺ is going to use to explain to the people. But regardless, whether you as a hadith rejector want to give the interpretation of the dhikr or not, you want to accept this as sunnah or not, or you want to say that the hikmah is the sunnah or not, you still have a problem to deal with. And that problem is that all of these verses are mentioning something other than the Quran, and it is saying that the Prophet ﷺ is teaching it, and it is for us as believers. So the question is, for you and me as a believer now, where do we find that other thing that the Prophet is teaching? So it's the prophetic teaching, not the Quran. We already established it's something other than the Quran. Can you tell us now as a hadith rejector, where do we find that other source of information that is not the Quran, that is being taught by the Prophet ﷺ? We'd like to hear your input. You can tell us what the hikmah is. If you don't want to tell us what the hikmah is, you can explain to us what is that thing that the Prophet ﷺ is going to teach that is other than the Quran. So that
وفرق بين من تمشي بستر ومن تمشي بغير الستر فينا عباءتها على الرأس ارتياح لعين الناظرين الصالحين لعين الناظرين الصالحين يراها الناس جوهرة وتبقى كلؤلؤة بعين الناظرين ولم تبرز مفاتنها بيوم لأن النار مثوى الخاسرين لأن النار مثوى الخاسرين وقدوتها رسول الله دوما وتحذو حذو أم المؤمنين فحق لمثلها ألا تبادي إذا انتقدوا هداها الناقصين إذا انتقدوا هداها الناقصين